they saw. And what it did for the Darkness was brought their music to the mainstream, to the people who buy Robbie Williams albums. And they are the people that buy Robbie albums, Dido albums, and all the kind of big sellers. So Permission to Land went from being, you know, a cool rock album which not too many people had heard about, to a massive album that 100,000 people per night had heard, and they went away going, Robbie was fantastic, but who was that band on before?
I think playing a big show like Nebworth is going to be helpful in any circumstance. Both in, I mean, put it this way, Robbie Williams' fan base is enormous. Exposing the Darkness to that fan base, they're going to love him. They love the band too. So, you know, it was a very shrewd move on their part because they're, if you like, doubling their fan base.
I think that was the one thing the Darkness did that just took them up to the next level. Suddenly they were virtually a household name. The Sun latched onto them in the Bazaar column, a picture of Justin, which I think was bigger than Robbie Williams. And, you know, from there on, it was just up and up.
The Darkness followed the massively successful Robbie Williams gig by supporting the Rolling Stones in Germany and taking the main stage at the Reading Festival. In September, they re-released I Believe in a Thing Called Love. Boosted by the thousands of newly acquired fans from their summer touring, the record rose to #2 in the British singles chart and became an anthem countrywide.
I loved it. I loved the fact that it starts off with a really heavy rock riff, and then you get this fantastic falsetto, and it's a love song. I believe in a thing called love, you know. Everybody can relate to a love song.
You know, from the first time you hear that on the radio, it's just like, yes, what's this? Turn it up. I mean, I actually like playing the album version from time to time as well because it's kind of, it's a little bit more, that opening bit is a little bit more subdued, a little bit less produced. When the single comes on, it's no mucking about, it's and it's just, that is a rock record. You're in, 10 seconds into it, you're like, what the hell is this?
The song has 2 guitar solos in it too, so it's a classic sort of rock arrangement. It has everything you could possibly want from a rock song.
Coupled with this incredibly camp, over-the-top video, you know, them running down, the guitar arriving from the ceiling. I mean, you could, I mean, again, we talk about Freddie Mercury. There was an incredibly camp video, and they did some incredibly camp videos where Freddie dressed up as a woman doing the hoovering. I mean, it's that kind of thing. And then this ridiculous creature, you know, the octopus or whatever, attacking the spaceship. I think when, you know, the younger kids, the record-buying public, saw that, they kind of liked it, and they went out and bought the single, whereas you and I thought, brilliant record, I'm going to go and find the album. And, you know, it's albums, I guess, that are the big business these days, so they can't lose. If the kids are buying the singles and we're buying the albums, that's why they're making a lot of money and a lot of good records.
I think that song, if you like, that song epitomises the Darkness. It has every element of what's good about them all packaged up in that one song.
You could go up to, I don't know, you go up to a bricklayer in the street and hum that song and they go, oh yeah, it's that band, it's that bloke with the high voice, isn't it? You know, you might not say bloke, you might say twat, but he knew who it was. You know, that's the thing, and I think that's one of the things about the Darkness, you know, even if you don't like them, those songs are in your brain and you are doomed.
With a hit single, TV appearances, music and tabloid press coverage and huge sales of their album, the band had managed to rise out of their 2.5-year gestation period to conquer all before them.
Whether you might like the music or not, but I think they definitely deserve the huge success they have now, because they've really worked their asses off to get there, they really have. It was skint for ages and so on, but carry on sticking to it instead of getting 9-to-5 jobs and rehearsing once a month. They didn't. They actually carried on with the band. So yeah, really well earned, definitely.
I think, do you know what, if we had done the whole Darkness thing for 6 months and then Simon Cowell popped up and said, guess what, you know what, I'm behind the Darkness, I wouldn't have been that surprised, because it went to such an extreme with the hair, the outfits, the tattoos, that it was almost like you'd gone to a book, How to Be a Rock Band, or they'd hired out Spinal Tap, like you say, you know, and you could tick off everything. Hair, yes. Teeth, outfits, yes. Songs about this, that and the other. Incredibly camp videos. Well, it was all there. So I wouldn't have been surprised if someone had turned around and said, do you know what, it's all a big marketing campaign, we've done it, ha ha ha, we proved that we could do it. But it wasn't, which means it actually goes completely other end of the spectrum, and it goes, well, this is what we wanted to do. These are the bands we admire, this is the band we wanted to make. Here's the Darkness, you know, like us or lump us, we're going to do what we do. And I think that if the Darkness weren't the band that they are now, I think they'd probably still be doing gigs. I think they'd still be playing the London circuit, this, that and the other, or maybe even doing, you know, the odd sort of UK tour, but they'd still be doing it because that's what they know, that's what they love. Anything else, well, thanks very much, we'll have it. And I think now they've probably got more than they imagined they would ever have. You know, I can't imagine that they sat down and said, let's do this band, and even when they had permission to land done and dusted and it was ready to hit the stores, did they think, we're about to be the biggest thing that this country has seen for a very long while. I refuse to believe, even with Justin's immense arrogance, and I say that in the nicest possible way because he's a lovely man, but he's got the rock star arrogance. I don't think they ever thought they'd be this big.
In October, the band played the University of East Anglia in Norwich. If not a return to Lowestoft, it was a return to their home county, and local reaction in the seaside town of their youth was overwhelming. Radio DJ Stuart Lee covered the gig for Lowestoft station, the Beach FM.
At the time, that was the biggest thing to their homecoming gig that they'd done in the area. Finally, we get to see the Darkness because a few people were still unaware of, you know, the grassroots of the Darkness. When they did, you know, Growing on Me made it into the top 20, people were becoming aware of them, and, you know, on the front page of Kerrang and in the newspapers during the week, people were becoming aware of them, but they weren't aware that they never actually performed in Lowestoft as the Darkness. They weren't aware of the grassroots, and that's kind of really what sparked the hunger for people.
December saw the Darkness release a new single, not on their Permission to Land LP, Christmas Time, Don't Let the Bells End. A festive number, it once again saw the band climb up the charts and secure their place as Britain's premium and least predictable rock outfit.
I think it was a stroke of genius that the band released a Christmas single, you know, not just a single released at Christmas, but a single about Christmas. You know, bands just, especially rock bands, just didn't do that. You know, that hadn't happened since the days of, you know, Slade and Wizard in the 70s, but, you know, clearly the Darkness didn't care at all.
I think the whole Christmas single thing just shows how much on the money their marketing people and their management are, or, you know, how genuinely up on the industry that the band are, because to sell records at any time of the year is a good thing. To sell a Christmas record when people are buying gifts is a brilliant thing. You know, they make an awful lot of money doing that, and I think they did very well to have done so. How far up the charts you get to number 2? Yeah, if you got to number 2 in the Christmas charts, you're making a packet of money.
It was an odd one. You know, you don't normally get a rock band releasing a Christmas single. I mean, I think I remember when the song was out and we were doing the whole, you know, are they going to be Christmas number 1, aren't they going to be Christmas number 1? I remember looking back and I don't think there'd been a decent Christmas number 1 for 10 years. I mean, E17, Mr. Blobby, Bob the Builder, the list goes on, but I won't bore you to tears. So, you know, I was really rooting, you know, for a Christmas number 1 from a credible band.
The fact it had the word bell end cunningly concealed in the title, I don't think the release of, in some people's eyes, you know, I don't think the release of the single would have done much good for their reputation among certain people.